Picture this: a busy courtroom filled with tension as a judge curtly silences a black woman trying to speak in her own defense. The gavel slams, dismissing her right to explain her side. Little did the judge know the woman wasn't just another defendant. She was the state's newly appointed Chief Justice. In a stunning twist, she remained calm, enduring the judge's blatant disregard for fairness. But as the proceedings unfolded, it became clear this was no ordinary courtroom drama. How could someone wield so much authority without realizing who they were dealing with? And what happens when power and prejudice collide with poise and intellect? Stay tuned as we unravel the powerful story of resilience, accountability, and the ultimate lesson in justice. A moment that shook the very foundation of this courtroom and revealed how bias can blind even those tasked with upholding the law. The woman sat quietly, her composure unshaken despite the judge's dismissive attitude. Onlookers in the courtroom watched, some with raised eyebrows, unsure why the judge seemed so unwilling to give her a fair chance to speak. Whispers rippled through the room, speculating about who she might be and why she wasn't more forceful in defending herself. Behind the scenes, her path to becoming the state's first Black Chief Justice was nothing short of extraordinary. A journey marked by resilience, brilliance, and a deep commitment to justice. But today, none of that mattered in the eyes of the judge. All he saw was a defendant he could steamroll, another face in a system too often marred by bias and inequality. What he didn't realize, however, was that every word, every dismissal, every gavel slam was drawing him closer to a moment he would never forget. A reckoning was coming, but how? As the hearing dragged on, the judge grew increasingly impatient. He cut her off mid-sentence, his tone sharp, as though her words didn't matter. A few people in the courtroom exchanged uneasy glances. They knew the judge's reputation for being rigid, but something about his behavior today seemed especially unsettling. Meanwhile, the woman's expression remained calm, almost unnervingly so, as if she were waiting for the exact moment to turn the tide. What no one else could see was how carefully she was weighing every move, every word. She knew the stakes were far greater than her personal dignity. This wasn't just about one judge's bias. It was about exposing a much deeper issue embedded in the justice system itself. Somewhere in the back of the courtroom, an observer began to realize something was off. Why wasn't she backing down? And how could someone so composed, so self-assured, seem so unfazed by this blatant injustice? The courtroom grew quieter as the judge leaned forward, his irritation now thinly veiled. "I said that's enough," he barked, interrupting the woman once again. But she didn't flinch. Instead, she glanced around the room, her measured gaze falling briefly on the gallery before returning to the judge. Every move she made seemed deliberate, as if she was laying down invisible pieces of a larger puzzle no one else could see. By now, even the clerk at the side of the room was stealing curious glances at her. The energy in the courtroom had shifted. It wasn't just about the case anymore. It was about her silence, her confidence, and the growing realization that something extraordinary was about to happen. Finally, she took a deep breath and spoke, her voice steady but piercing. "Your Honor, there is one fact you've overlooked. And when I present it, you'll see how this changes everything." The courtroom froze as her words hung in the air. The judge shifted in his chair, his irritation giving way to unease. "A fact I've overlooked," he repeated skeptically, attempting to mask the flicker of doubt crossing his face. The woman nodded, her demeanor calm yet commanding, as if she had been preparing for this moment all along. She reached for a folder on the table in front of her, slowly opening it as murmurs rippled through the room. Everyone leaned in slightly, unable to tear their eyes away. "What are you trying to pull here?" The judge snapped, his voice betraying a hint of nerves. But she didn't answer immediately. Instead, she withdrew a single document, holding it up for the court to see. "Your Honor," she said evenly, "perhaps this will help you better understand who I am." Before anyone could react, a gasp broke the silence. Someone in the gallery recognized the seal on the document. It was official, unmistakable. In that moment, the judge's expression faltered. The room buzzed with uncertainty, everyone sensing that something monumental was about to unravel. But how could one piece of paper hold such power? The judge's confidence crumbled as he squinted at the seal on the document she held. He blinked, then abruptly adjusted his glasses, realizing he recognized it too late. The woman calmly stepped forward, her heels echoing against the marble floor, and handed the document to the court clerk. "Read it aloud," she instructed, her tone firm yet dignified. The clerk hesitated, her hands trembling slightly, but then cleared her throat. "This certifies the appointment of Justice Mariah Hayes as Chief Justice of the State Supreme Court," the clerk read, her voice steady but her eyes wide. A stunned silence filled the room. Gasps and murmurs quickly followed as the weight of the revelation sank in. The judge's face drained of color as he realized he had been speaking over, dismissing, and disrespecting the very person who outranked him. But just when it seemed the story had reached its peak, Maria spoke again, her voice carrying an unmistakable authority. "And now, Your Honor, let me inform you that your actions today will be reviewed not only by me, but by the Judicial Conduct Board." The judge's mouth opened as if to argue, but no words came out. The courtroom exploded in whispers and nervous exchanges. Mariah turned to address the gallery. "This is not just about me. This is about ensuring fairness for every person who walks into a courtroom, no matter who they are." As the judge sat in stunned silence, his career and reputation teetering on the edge, it was clear that justice, both poetic and literal, had been served. As the courtroom settled, the weight of the moment was undeniable. Justice Mariah Hayes stood tall, her calm composure now a symbol of resilience and authority. The judge, once so confident, sat in humbled silence, visibly grappling with the consequences of his actions. Those in attendance whispered among themselves, some astonished, others inspired, as they processed what had just unfolded. Maria addressed the room one final time, her voice firm but filled with grace. "Let this be a reminder that justice must be impartial and respectful, no matter who is standing before the bench. No one is above the principles this system is built on, not even those entrusted to uphold them." As she walked out of the courtroom, the energy in the room shifted, leaving behind a powerful lesson about accountability and respect. For everyone present, this wasn't just a moment of reckoning. It was a call for change.